Hey, how y'all doing?
Hey, Ty, Dave Stevens over here. We talked yesterday a lot about your faith, and this has been a predominant draft with a lot of faith-based players. But historically, the league has kind of sometimes had some issues. Tim Tebow, we talked about. I don't know if you've discussed that with him, or the pressures of wearing your faith on your sleeve in this league and what the ramifications might be.
Yeah, first off, I don't think I know I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for my faith. My Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, is something that, I fully believe in. And, he's blessed me in so many different ways. And I fully believe that, I'm here for a bigger reason. And the fact that I, get to play for the Los Angeles Rams and an NFL team, to be on the biggest stage and tell the good news, it's something that I very cherish dearly, and that I take pride in. I'm not going to stop doing that. It's something that I believe in truly, and it's just something that is part of me.
Ty here, second row. How would you describe your leadership style as a quarterback?
Genuine. I'm a guy who loves football, who eats and breathes it. I'm a guy who wants to influence people in every type of way. I just talked about my faith. I feel like that it's bigger than football. It's how you are in the locker room, how you are outside of the locker room, how you treat your teammates, how you treat your friends, and that's what I want the people to understand is not only am I going to be a good player, but I'm going to be an even better teammate.
Hi, I'm Layla Hunter with AP As We See It. How has Alabama shaped you as a player and a person?
Yeah, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Alabama as well. I decided to stay there. It was something to where the infrastructure that Coach Saban and Coach DeBoer, had there with, all the NFL executives and the scouts coming in, David Ballou and the strength staff and, what they do. And then, Coach Grubb coming in and running an NFL-like system. It's prepared me for the NFL. The years that I sat were just as important as the years that I played. And it's something that, I cherish dearly, and that's why I love the University of Alabama.
Hi, Ty. AP Stidham of AP As We See It. Congratulations to you, big man.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Ty, what's the best advice you've heard from somebody to play the quarterback position in the NFL? The speed of the passing game, the overall sophisticated defenses that you will face.
Yeah, you can't go broke taking a profit. It's something that you have to learn. Something that I've talked to many quarterbacks about, many coaches about. Just keep the offense on the field. Keep the ball moving. These guys get paid to tackle me. These guys get paid to rush the passer. And I'm gonna make sure that I get the ball out as quick as I can, just so we can stay on the field and have positive plays.
Ty in the back, Adam Wells with WPSD. Can you talk to me about what this moment means to you and maybe proving some people wrong when they didn't think you might have been a first rounder?
Yeah, it means the world. I always. I tell people all the time that I kind of, I like to play with a chip on my shoulder. It's what, the University of Alabama, it's like everybody's against us, and we always say it's us against the world. And I felt that way in the draft. And I'm super blessed that, Mr. Snead and Coach McVay, took a chance on me and believed in me. But, I want to, make sure that, people aren't a fan later. They counted me out now, but don't count me out later.
Ty, dear Brady Donovan here with the Waynesburg University. So you're now officially in the NFL. Could you give a few words about maybe what you would tell yourself if you were, 5 years old again, about how hard you've pushed and now that you are living your dream as an NFL draft pick?
Trust the process. It's going to be a long ride. There's going to be trials, tribulations. There's going to be times where you ask the Lord why, like why me, why am I here? But it's all going to work out. And this is Coach Saban always says this. It's this is not the end. This is just the beginning. I got a long road to go. I want to play in the league for as many years as I can. Just like the guy I'm going to be in a room with, Matthew Stafford. A guy who does things the right way, plays the right way. I'm smiling just thinking about being in there and soaking up all that knowledge. But it's going to be tough. But you're a gritty guy, and this is what you're made of.
Hello, Ty. First of all, congrats. You said it already. You're arriving to this franchise that has Matthew Stafford as the leader, as a quarterback we know that he is going to be a Hall of Famer. in the future. But my question is, what do you expect to learn from this great quarterback?
Everything. I want to learn, how he operates, how, his daily schedule is, how he takes care of his body. I want to learn how, Coach McVay, how he sees plays. I want to soak up as much knowledge as I can. I think about all the great quarterbacks, who have learned from and sat, Aaron Rodgers, Jordan Love, those type of guys who, saw how, the league worked and how, great guys like that, did things. Even, the greatest of all time, Tom Brady saw, Drew Bledsoe and how he did things. So, the fact that, I can sit in there and learn and just be a fly on the wall and soak up all that knowledge is something that, I can cherish forever.
Last question.
Hey, I love the walk-up song, man. Hey, what's your public service announcement, to the league as you're stepping in and making your, your big break, man?
So my public service announcement, I think it would be, my three things: faith, family, and football. We talked about my faith earlier. I'm not going to stop showing love to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. I'm going to take care of my family and football. But I want to make sure I represent not only the Rams and my family the right way, but the NFL the right way. And I want to take this game to another level and change how people view it.
Thank you, Ty. Congratulations.
Thank you, guys.